over 60, and suddenly the cheese aisle feels like a bit of a minefield. You're definitely not alone.
Mm.
Trying to balance, your love of a good slice with keeping your heart happy, your bones strong, it can be genuinely confusing.
It really can. As we age, our nutritional needs change, and, well, the way our bodies handle different foods changes too. So something that was fine before might hit differently now.
Exactly. And that's why we're doing this deep dive today. We've looked at the science, the nutritional info.
Yep.
To cut through that confusion. Our mission is pretty clear. Find 4 cheeses that can be fantastic allies for seniors and 4 others that maybe need a bit more caution.
Okay.
And we're not just naming them. We want to get into the why behind each one so you can feel confident about your choices.
No, the goal isn't about giving up cheese altogether. Not at all. It's just about understanding which ones work best with your body as you age.
Okay, let's start with one that might be a bit surprising. Fresh mozzarella. I mean, the really fresh kind. Buffalo mozzarella, fior di latte. Is this really a bone booster?
It absolutely can be. Fresh mozzarella, it really shines because of its calcium content. And importantly, it's easily absorbed.
Ah, okay.
Think about it. Bone density naturally declines as we get older, right? And our digestion might not be quite as good at pulling calcium from food.
So it's not just the amount of calcium, but how easily our bodies can grab onto it.
Precisely. High bioavailability, it means your body can actually use that calcium effectively to support your bones, maybe even lower fracture risk. It's like giving your bones building blocks they can easily work with.
Wasn't there a study on this? I seem to recall something.
Yes, good point. A 2021 study in Osteoporosis International showed a pretty clear link between diets with dairy calcium, like you get in fresh mozzarella, and better bone density in older adults.
Right.
So yeah, adding cheeses like this seems like a smart dietary move.
And thinking about the changes that happen as we age, like for postmenopausal women, the drop in estrogen really speeds up bone loss, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Those hormonal shifts, along with other age factors, make these calcium-rich, low-sodium options like fresh mozzarella incredibly valuable.
Low sodium, that's key too.
Absolutely. You get the calcium boost without pushing your blood pressure up, which is often a concern.
So maybe skip the pre-shredded stuff in the bag then.
Generally, yeah. Those processed types often pack in more sodium and might not have that same readily available calcium. Aim for maybe 1 to 1.5 ounces of the fresh kind.
And it's not just calcium, is it? There are other benefits too.
You got it. It also gives you high-quality protein, great for keeping muscle mass, and phosphorus, another mineral that works hand in hand with calcium for bone health.
Okay, so fresh mozzarella. High usable calcium, low sodium, great for bones, easy on the blood pressure. I like it. Next up, feta. I love feta, that salty tang, but you're calling it a gut guardian.
That's right. Traditional feta, particularly the kind made from sheep's or goat's milk or a mix, offers some really significant probiotic benefits.
Probiotics in feta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good for your gut health and even your immune function, which, as you know, become increasingly important as we get older.
Huh. I wouldn't have immediately thought of cheese for probiotics. What kind of bacteria are we talking about?
Well, authentic feta contains live and active cultures. One really beneficial one is called Lactobacillus plantarum. These aren't just, leftovers from making the cheese. They actively help.
Okay, so they survive digestion, and then what do they do in our gut?
They help balance your gut microbiome, that whole community of microbes in your digestive tract. A healthy balance there is crucial for absorbing nutrients properly, controlling inflammation, keeping your immune system strong.
Right.
All things that can get a bit trickier with age. Think of your gut like a city. Probiotics are like helpful citizens keeping things running smoothly.
So it's kind of like topping up the good bacteria.
Essentially, yes. And there's research backing this up. A 2022 paper in the Journal of Gerontology. Biological Sciences found that probiotics, like those from feta, can positively influence those age-related shifts in gut bacteria and even help our aging immune systems.
That's fascinating because, gut bacteria diversity can decrease as we age, right? Medications, diet changes.
Exactly, which is why adding probiotic-rich foods like feta can be a really useful strategy.
Any tips for picking the best feta for this?
Yeah, look for labels that actually say live active cultures. A moderate serving, maybe an ounce or so, is good.
Okay.
And if you're watching your salt intake, you can actually rinse feta under cool water. It cuts down the sodium quite a bit without losing too many probiotics.
Oh, good tip.
Plus, since it's often sheep or goat milk, some people who are sensitive to cow's milk, lactose, find it easier to digest.
So feta's surprise power.
Yeah.
Probiotics for digestion and immunity. Love that. Okay, third beneficial cheese. Swiss. Known for the holes, obviously, but a heart's helper. Tell me more.
Yes, those holes are actually made by beneficial bacteria working away. But the real heart benefit? Swiss cheese tends to be naturally lower in sodium compared to many other hard cheeses.
That makes immediate sense. Blood pressure management is huge for seniors.
It really is. Cutting back on sodium is key, and Swiss often has quite a bit less than, say, cheddar or provolone.
Yeah.
So you can still enjoy cheese without overloading on salt.
And the bacteria making the holes? Propionibacterium something?
Probiotic-bacteria and Freudenreichie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do more than make holes. They also produce vitamin K2 specifically, monacanone.
Vitamin K2, okay, what does that do?
It plays this really crucial role in directing calcium. It helps send it to your bones where you need it and keeps it away from your arteries.
Wait, calcium in arteries, that's bad, right? Hardening of the arteries.
Exactly. Arterial calcification. It makes arteries stiff, increases cardiovascular risk. Vitamin K2 acts like a traffic cop, making sure calcium goes to your bones, not your blood vessel walls.
Wow, a calcium traffic controller. Is there research on this?
A 2020 meta-analysis in the British Journal of Nutrition linked higher K2 intake with a lower risk of coronary heart disease. So the K2 in Swiss cheese could be contributing to that benefit.
And that's super relevant as we age, with arteries getting stiffer and blood pressure being more of a concern.
Precisely. The lower sodium plus the vitamin K2 makes Swiss a pretty heart-smart choice. A 1-ounce serving fits well. And like mozzarella, it's also got protein and calcium too.
So, the secret of Swiss, lower salt and K2 making bacteria. Who knew holes were so helpful? Okay, final good guy. Cottage cheese. Often seen as diet food, but you're calling it the muscle maintainer.
That's right. Cottage cheese is kind of an unsung hero. It's packed with high-quality protein, particularly casein, which is slow digesting.
Slow digesting. How does that help muscles specifically?
Well, that slow digestion means a steady, sustained release of amino acids, the building blocks for muscle. This is really helpful for muscle repair and growth, especially as we age and maybe don't build muscle as easily.
And this ties into sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss.
Exactly. Getting enough protein, especially distributed throughout the day, is key to fighting sarcopenia. Helps maintain mobility, strength, independence. There was a 2019 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition emphasizing spreading protein intake out.
And cottage cheese is easy to fit in at different times.
Right. And since metabolism might slow down, appetite might decrease, getting nutrient-dense, high-protein foods like cottage cheese becomes even more efficient. Half a cup to a cup gives you a good protein hit, maybe 12-15 grams.
Any tips for choosing cottage cheese?
Yeah, go for plain varieties if you can, just to control sugar intake. Flavored ones can have a surprising amount of added sugar.
Good point.
And you can choose the fat level, low fat, full fat based on your own dietary needs.
Yeah.
It's super versatile too, with fruit in salads, smoothies, dips, even baked goods.
So, the big win for cottage cheese is that protein power relative to calories. Great for keeping muscles strong. Okay, we've covered the good ones now. Let's brace ourselves for the potentially risky cheeses. First up, processed American cheese. The ultimate melter, but an inflammation instigator. Yikes.
It can be, yeah. Look, it's often called a cheese product for a reason. It's highly processed, usually a mix of cheese bits, emulsifiers, artificial colors, preservatives, plus high sodium and phosphates.
Okay, so what's the damage from all that processing and those additives?
Well, research suggests some of those additives, like certain emulsifiers and phosphates, can mess with your gut microbiome balance.
The gut again.
Yep. And disrupting that can contribute to low-grade chronic inflammation, which is linked to so many age-related health issues. Also, a 2023 review in Nutrients suggested dietary phosphates might harm blood vessels and strain the kidneys.
And kidneys can become less efficient with age anyway.
Exactly. Plus, older adults often don't handle high sodium loads as well and might be more susceptible to inflammation from artificial stuff due to, cumulative effects and immune system changes.
So what do we do? Just eat less of it?
Honestly, it's probably best to limit it significantly or even avoid it. The sodium alone is really high. One slice can be a big chunk of your daily limit, impacting blood pressure.
Right.
If you need something melty, maybe try a young cheddar or Monterey Jack, less processed. Always check the label for sodium and ingredients.
And those phosphates you mentioned, they do more than just affect the gut?
Oh, yeah. They can interfere with calcium absorption, not good when you're trying to protect your bones. And some studies link artificial phosphates to faster arterial calcification. Risk piling on risk.
Wow. So that convenient melt comes at potentially a high price for inflammation, heart, and bones. Okay, next risky one. Blue cheese. Love the flavor, but moldy menace. That sounds dramatic.
Well, it can be a menace for some people. the penicillium mold that gives it its character. That process creates compounds called biogenic amines. Tyramine and histamine are the main ones.
Okay, biogenic means what's the issue there?
Younger, healthy people usually break these down fine,
Hmm.
but as we age, that ability can decrease so that these compounds can build up.
Tyramine. I feel like I've heard warnings about that with certain drugs.
Yes, absolutely critical point. Tyramine can cause a hypertensive crisis, a sudden dangerous blood pressure spike if you're taking MAO inhibitors. Those are sometimes used for depression in older adults.
Wow, okay.
But even without MAOIs, high tyramine can trigger nasty headaches, raise blood pressure, sometimes even cause heart rhythm issues. And histamine can cause allergy-like reactions in sensitive people.
So it's not just the drug interaction risk.
No, our bodies just might not handle these compounds as well anymore. A 2023 study in food chemistry touched on this increased susceptibility. Plus, there's immunosenescence, our immune system weakening with age.
Which makes us more vulnerable to
Yeah.
listeria.
Exactly. Listeria monocytogenes bacteria can thrive in soft, moldy cheeses, especially unpasteurized or badly stored ones. And it's a much bigger risk for someone with a weaker immune system. Symptoms can start subtle palpitations, headache, but get serious.
So, bottom line on blue cheese.
Caution. Definitely caution. If you have mold allergies, take MAOIs, or have a compromised immune system, probably best to avoid it. If you do eat it, make sure it's pasteurized, from a good source, stored right. And remember, blue cheeses are often high in sodium too.
So it's the molds, the byproducts like tyramine, potential listeria, and sodium. Lots to consider there. Okay, third potential risk. Full-fat cream cheese. Seems harmless, but a saturated fat trap.
Yeah, the main issue is it's very high in saturated fat, but offers pretty low nutritional value otherwise. Lots of calories from saturated fat, not much protein, vitamins, or minerals.
And we know high saturated fat intake isn't great for heart health, especially later in life.
Precisely. It's linked to higher LDL, the bad cholesterol, risk of atherosclerosis, heart disease. And as our arteries get less flexible and cholesterol management changes with age, these dietary fats have a bigger impact.
So it's not just calories, it's the type of calories.
Exactly. It's a lot of empty calories in that sense.
Yeah.
Not much nutritional bang for your buck. A small amount can eat up a big part of your daily saturated fat limit.
Are the low-fat versions much better? Neufchâtel.
Slightly better, less saturated fat. But honestly, things like hummus, avocado, nut butters often offer a better nutritional package overall. Healthier fats, fiber, other nutrients.
Good alternatives.
And watch out for flavored cream cheeses. Honey, walnut, strawberry. They often load up on added sugar, which just adds another negative layer, inflammation, weight gain.
Right, so the big problem with cream cheese, dense saturated fat, low nutrient density, a burden on the heart. Got it. Last one, aged cheeses. Sharp cheddar, Parmesan, delicious. But a migraine and medication mixer.
Yes, those really flavorful aged cheeses, cheddar, Parmesan, Gouda, Gruyere, can be tricky because the aging process breaks down proteins, leading to higher levels of those biogenic amines again, especially tyramine.
More tyramine.
Yep. Generally, the longer it's aged, the more tyramine it has.
So same concerns as blue cheese, basically. Migraines and...
Migraines, yes. Tyramine is a known trigger for susceptible people.
Why?
But the most critical risk, again, is that interaction with MAOI medications.
Right, the hypertensive crisis.
Exactly. It prevents tyramine breakdown, blood pressure shoots up dangerously. It's a potentially life-threatening interaction flagged in pharmacology resources.
That's really scary.
It is. And think about polypharmacy. Older adults often take multiple medications, increasing the odds of some kind of interaction. Plus, age affects how we metabolize drugs, maybe making us more sensitive.
So if you're on an MAOI, aged cheeses are a definite no-go.
Absolutely strict avoidance, no question.
Mm-hmm.
If you get migraines, be cautious, monitor your intake, see if they're a trigger. For everyone else over 60, moderation is probably wise. Remember, these cheeses are often high in sodium and saturated fat too.
So that intense, delicious flavor has a hidden risk for some, especially with meds or migraines. Really highlights needing to be aware.
It really does. Look, navigating cheese after 60 isn't about deprivation. It's just about making informed choices.
Understanding what's in the cheese.
Exactly. Knowing the nutritional profiles, how they might interact with your body, your meds. Choosing things like fresh mozzarella or feta can be actively beneficial.
And being more mindful of the processed stuff, high-sodium ones, and cheeses with compounds like tyramine or active molds.
Right. And always remembering our bodies change. We might not handle fats or sodium like we used to. So these choices become more significant for staying healthy.
This has been super helpful, really clarifying. Thanks for breaking it all down. For everyone listening, we hope this helps you feel more empowered in the cheese aisle.
Definitely. And hey, share your favorite healthy cheese choices or any insights you've gained in the comments. Your experience might help someone else.
Great idea. Thanks again for joining us for this deep dive. See you soon. Until then, keep learning. Bye.
Bye, everyone. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you found this useful.